Today, under the scientific principles of management, we are going to discuss various techniques of scientific management as given by F.W. Taylor. The first scientific technique is functional foremanship. Taylor suggested that specialization should be introduced at the supervisory level. He recommended functional foremanship for this purpose. Functional foremanship states that the task of supervision is divided into several specialized functions, and each function is entrusted to a specialist foreman. For this, he suggested the division of factory in two departments. One is the planning department, second is the production department. Taylor felt that workers must be free from the burden of planning and they must concentrate on work and production. The technique of functional foremanship is an extension of the principle of division of work, but it violates the principle of unity of command. For this, Taylor proposed 8 specialist foremen. For this, 4 foremen were to look after the planning work and other 4 to supervise the work in the shop. Taylor contemplated 8 functional foremanship. Now, if you go through the diagram, the functional foremanship is divided into two departments, planning department and production department. Both departments are being headed by planning officer and production officer. Under the planning officer, there are 4 foremen, and again under the production officer, there are 4 foremen. The total 8 foremen are there, under whom the workers are there. Under the planning officer, there is one route clerk. Route clerk determines the routes through which the raw materials will pass. For this, a route sheet is being prepared by him. Then there is instructional card clerk. He lays down instructions according to which workers are required to perform their jobs. Then time and cost clerk is there. He sets the timetable for doing different jobs as per predetermined route and time schedule, specifying the material and labor cost in respect of each operation. And there is another discipline officer who maintains proper discipline in the factory so that production targets may be achieved, offering immediate solution to clashes and punishing the erring employees. Under the production officer, there is gang boss. He makes arrangements of machines, materials, tools, etc. for the different jobs. Then speed boss is there. He maintains the planned speed of production, investigating the causes for the delays and removing those causes. Then repairs boss is there. He maintains the machines and equipments. He makes proper arrangements for their oiling, greasing, cleaning and repair, and preventing the misuse of machines and equipments. Then inspector is there. He sees that the work conforms to the standards of quality and laid down by the planning department. In a factory system, foreman is very important, around whom revolves the entire production like planning, implementation and control. Thus, Taylor concentrated on improving the performance of the role in the factory setup. According to Taylor, a foreman should have intelligence, education, fact, judgment, special knowledge, honesty, energy, and good health. Since all these qualities could not be found in a single person, so Taylor proposed 8 specialists. Each specialist is to be assigned work according to his or her qualities and capabilities. Another technique as given by F.W. Taylor is standardization and simplification of work. Standardization of work refers to the process of setting standards for every business activity. For example, standardization of process, raw materials, time, product, machinery, etc. in order to establish standards of excellence and quality in materials, standards of performance of men and machine, etc. Simplification of work aims at eliminating unnecessary diversity of products. It results in saving cost of labor, machines, and tools, and also it implies fuller utilization of equipment and increasing turnover. Most of the large companies like Nokia, Toyota, and Microsoft, etc., have successfully implemented the technique of standardization and simplification. This is evident from their large share in their respective markets. Moreover, simplification aims at eliminating superfluous varieties, sizes, and dimensions, while standardization implies devising new varieties instead of existing ones. Another scientific technique is work study. Work study is a systematic, objective, and critical examination of factors relating to work so as to maximize efficiency. Scientific management requires deep analysis of all the activities being performed in the organization with the object of producing the maximum possible output with the minimum efforts. In other words, it may be said that Taylor was totally against the incompetence and he wanted to get rid of it by whatever possible means. For this, he suggested work study as a systematic, objective, and critical examination of all factors relating to work so as to maximize efficiency with minimum efforts. Work study includes the following techniques like method study, motion study, time study, and fatigue study. Next technique is method study. Under the method study, the management must make an overall study of the entire production process. Method study is followed to find out the best possible way of doing a particular job. There are various methods for completing any job. It involves establishing a method to be followed to complete a particular job with minimum cost and maximum quality and satisfaction of the customer. On this basis, a process chart setting out the various operations may be prepared. With the help of such study, the management can try to ensure that plant is laid down in the best manner and is equipped with the best tools and machinery. The main object of method study is to improve work methods so as to minimize cost. For example, the process followed for purchasing of raw materials, producing goods, packaging, its delivery to customers, etc., are all parts of method study. Motion study. Motion study is a study of the movements of an operator in performing an operation for the purpose of eliminating useless motions. Motion study is the technique used to study the various movements like lifting, putting objects, sitting, changing positions, etc. of workers while performing a particular task. The objective of motion study is to identify wasteful and unnecessary movements and eliminate them to determine the best possible way of doing a particular job. Motion study is an attempt to establish the best series of motions with which to accomplish a particular task. For example, if it is observed through motion study that workers have to move frequently for taking tools from the toolbox on the ground, then such wasteful movement can be eliminated by keeping the toolbox near the worker. It will increase the productivity as well as efficiency level of the workers. Time study. Time study of work measurement is concerned with labor productivity. Under it, an estimate is made of the amount of work required to be done to perform any job. It is an attempt to study and measure accurately the time required for performing a particular industrial operation. Time study determines the standard time taken by the workers to perform a well-defined job. Under time study, the job or operation is divided into a series of elements, and to determine standard time taken in performing each element of task, time measuring devices like stopwatches are used to measure time taken to perform a repeated activity. The standard time is determined using average of several readings taken to perform the same activity. For example, on the basis of several observations, it is determined that standard time taken by a worker in a factory to produce 100 units is 20 minutes. So, in 1 hour, a worker will produce 300 units. Assuming that a worker works for 8 hours in a shift and after deducting 1 hour for lunch break, it is determined that in 7 hours a worker will produce 2100 units at the rate of 300 units per hour. Thus, this is the fair day's work standard for a worker. Time study is a study of the time taken to perform each particular operation in an industrial task, and from the data thus obtained, endeavoring to fix the proper time taken that the task as a whole should take. Another technique is fatigue study. The setting of standard task would be meaningless if it is not accompanied by a study of how long a person can perform the standard task without any adverse effects on his health and efficiency. Fatigue study needs to be carried out precisely for this reason. Fatigue study considers the fact that an individual is bound to get tired physically and mentally while working for a long period of time. Therefore, the worker needs rest at regular intervals of time. The short breaks while working help to regain stamina to work with same energy, leading to increased productivity. Fatigue study seeks to determine the amount and frequency of rest intervals required while completing a task. For example, you just imagine a school day without any breaks. Would you be able to concentrate on your lectures? Of course not. Similarly, workers need rest intervals so that they can recharge their energy level for optimum contribution. Taylor realized the need to ensure that performance of the standard task by workers should not lead to physical or mental exhaustion. Therefore, he made it obligatory for every worker to avail a brief period of rest after continuously working for a specified number of hours. Another technique as given by F.W. Taylor is differential piece wage system. Taylor advocated the differentiation between efficient and inefficient workers. He suggested that once the business follows work study techniques to determine the standard time and other standard parameters, it becomes easy to classify between efficient and inefficient workers. He proposed that to achieve maximum productivity of workers, it is important that efficiency is recognized in terms of appreciation and rewards. For this, Taylor suggested two piece rates, one for the efficient and the other for the inefficient ones. Standard quantity of production in terms of time is decided in advance. An efficient worker is paid higher piece rate and inefficient worker is paid lower piece rate. This difference helps to induce inefficient workers to work efficiently. The technique of differential wage system insists on paying different rate of wage to inefficient and efficient employees. Extra wage paid to efficient employees will motivate them to remain efficient, and also it will motivate inefficient employees to come in the category of inefficient employees. And the different rate of payment to efficient and inefficient employees, the production will automatically increase. While advocating differential wage system, Taylor suggested that the management must fix a standard rate of wage for workers producing standard output or target production. The workers who produce more than the target production must be paid with a higher rate of wages, and those who are not producing the standard output must be paid with a rate less than the standard rate. For example, a standard to produce 10 units is fixed for an hour. Those who produce 10 units in a shift shall get Rs 10 per unit, and those who produce less than 10 units in a shift will get Rs 8 per unit. Now suppose X produces 8 units and Y produces 12 units in one shift. Now X will get Rs 64 because he had produced 8 units only, and the standard production is 10 units. So he had produced lesser units, then he will get a lesser rate. So for 8 units he will get at the rate of Rs 8 per unit, Rs 64, whereas Y will get Rs 120 because he had produced the units equivalent to the standard units or more than the standard units. In this way he will get Rs 120. This difference in wages is based upon two rates, one for the efficient workers and other for the inefficient workers. The main objective of fixing two rates is to suitably reward the efficient workers and to motivate inefficient workers to work hard. Mental revolution is another scientific technique. Taylor emphasized that success of any business technique depends on the mindset of workers and the management. According to him, workers must contribute their might for company's growth, and in return, management must share profits and success of the company with its workers. This will result in cooperation amongst management and workers instead of competition and suspicion. Taylor referred this change in mindset as mental revolution. The scientific technique of mental revolution work on the lines change in the mental attitude of workers and that of management towards each other, ruling out the feeling of suspicion or prejudice from the minds of the workers and that of management, and to adopt systematic thinking and cooperation between the workers and the management. As discussed, Taylor also insisted on the change in the mental attitude of workers and the management towards each other. Scientific approach means radical change in the approach to the problems of job performance and management control. Workers all the while feel that management exploits them, exhausts undue work and pays proportionately mere wages, whereas the management has the misgiving that workers always grumble about the load of the work, purposely follow go-slow policy, damage the equipment, carelessly handle the machines and tools, and show indifference towards the quality of the goods. Management and labor suspect each other and usually seek to trick each other. Such feeling of suspicion or prejudice has to be rooted out to adopt systematic thinking on effective management based on motivation, consistent with efficiency and discipline. In the next video, we are going to discuss the next chapter, business environment. Till then, thank you.